This is the Sunday of Pentecost. Let me read you the passage from the Bible. When the day of Pentecost had come, they were all together in one place. And suddenly from heaven there came a sound like the rush of a violent wind, and it filled the entire house where they were sitting. Divided tongues as of fire appeared among them, and a tongue rested on each of them. All of them were filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak in other languages as the Spirit gave them ability. Pentecost, that idea comes from the Greek, is the 50th day. Pentecost is actually the 49th day, the 7th Sunday after Easter Sunday. It is when Jesus has ascended to heaven. And remember, he promised that he would send, and his Father would send the Holy Spirit, the Advocate, the Counselor, the Comforter, but the Holy Spirit to come upon them after he was gone. The Holy Spirit on Pentecost firing up the disciples. The fire of the Holy Spirit. Now, when we look at Pentecost and we go back 50 days, we're on Easter Sunday. And if you remember what happened on the night of Easter Sunday, after Jesus has risen, he's gone, he's looking for the disciples, but he knows where they are. They're in a locked room for fear that they are going to meet the same fate on the cross that he met. They're in fear. And do you remember our talking about it with this candle even? The idea that he breathed on them. He breathed the Holy Spirit into them and on them on that first Sunday, that first day of an absolutely new era. And now he's promised the Holy Spirit again, and it has come in tongues of flame. And we remember back when he was baptized, and John the Baptist says to all the crowd that's there, said, you know, I'm baptizing you with water, I'm washing you with water, but the one coming after me, the one coming down that road is going to baptize you with fire. I wonder what they thought. I wonder if they thought something like the fiery furnace that the ancient story in the Old Testament with those three guys. Is that what it means to be baptized by fire? Is that what it means? Maybe they were just so delighted when it ended up being just little tongues of flame, almost like the candle flame with each of them. But we have the two pieces. We have Easter Sunday with the breath coming on them, with air, with the breath, the air of Jesus, bringing peace and calm. And 50 days later, we have the fire. We have the fire. They're very different, aren't they? These two essential elements, fire and air. Fire and air. The peace that Jesus breathes in the air on them. This peace that passes all understanding, that is calming, relaxing. It stills the rage and the worry and the fear inside of them. It's a calming presence, diffused. It doesn't have the color of red, does it? It's almost like blues or something else. It's calming and peaceful. 50 days later, fire. And fire is intense. It is focus. It is passion. It is energy. Both are energy. That air, breath energy of the Holy Spirit that calms and sustains us. And we slow down and we relax a little bit and we're at peace. But the Holy Spirit loves us so much, doesn't want to leave us that way. The Holy Spirit wants to fire us up at some point. Fire us up. Because that puts us into motion. Its focus is intense. It is alive. It's a different kind of aliveness. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up during this pandemic is because I think it is time to address both of those kind of energies that we're called to. They don't happen at exactly the same time. They're 50 days, a proverbial 50 days in between. The time when we are called into quietness and calm and reflection and contemplation that helps kind of calm things around us. But after a time, we start to feel the need to rise up with some sort of energy to make something new happen, to renew things, to transform things. Fire is transformation, even if it's just a simple little flame over one's heart, over one's head. It's time now in this pandemic. It isn't going to be over in 50 days. We haven't even experienced 50 days. We're beyond 50 days now. But think of it as a symbol. There's a period of time that we are called a time for peace, time for quiet, a time to be sheltering in place. It's almost Ecclesiastes, a time for this and a time for that, a time for quiet, a time for calm, because we don't want that virus to rage and take us over. But we're beginning to feel that energy rise, and at some point the time will come when we need to renew, we need to touch base with that flame that is within us, the flame that is within us. And then we will go forth and we will renew things. We will be fired up, and hopefully the world will be renewed with each one of us, a flame at a time, a flame at a time. So rest in the peace and the calm and start to build that strength. Build that sustaining, make this a sustaining time, because that next time is going to come. And we want to be ready for that Pentecost, that time of renewal, that time of transformation. And you and I can do that. Amen.